All right, hello, children of God. This is Randumpz here, and one thing I know you've been wondering, because it's been a while since my last video, you've been wondering, where is Randumpz? Why hasn't he uploaded any other videos? Why isn't there another video uploaded right now? Well, sorry for the delay, but here we go. So today's video is about basically when to give up on a girl that you're talking to over text, whether it's on the phone or whatever, right? But usually I feel like nowadays everybody talks to girls or guys or someone that they're interested in over text first, right? So I'm going to go ahead and give you some clues as to when you should basically give up talking to a girl.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Alright, so I was talking to this girl like a month ago or something like that. I actually just found these and I took some screenshots. This was on Tinder. So anyways, again, for those of you that don't know, I'm actually in Korea, hence the opening line. I was like, hey, have you ever dated a foreigner before? And she's like, yes, I had! Exclamation mark. Now, usually an exclamation mark is a good sign because it shows that they're trying to show some interest in the conversation. But just wait. So she's like, yes, I had. Now, obviously, this girl's Korean. English is not her first language, so you can't be, talking trash about her for making a small mistake here, right? So I'm like, oh, how was it? Were there any major cultural issues? And she's like, not that much. I think it depends on person by person. Now, this is where the conversation ended. You might be wondering, well, why did the conversation end here? Well, it's very simple. Because if you look, right, it looked like she was somewhat interested in the conversation. She wasn't giving me one-word answers. But if you look, I asked this girl 2 questions, right? It's not like I asked her, hey, how are you? I asked her 2 questions. So, for example, question number 1, have you ever dated a foreigner before? She said, yes, I had. But guess what? She didn't reply back by saying, what about you? And this is important for later. Then I'm like, okay, so I continued. I'm like, again, how was it? Were there any major cultural issues? And then again, when she answers, she doesn't reply back with another question. Now, the obvious question, now look, if you have even basic social skills, the obvious response here from her would be, well, what about you? Have you dated any foreigners before? Have you ever faced any cultural issues with Korean girls or other girls, foreign girls that you've dated? But the fact that she didn't even think to, hey, listen, we're having a conversation about dating foreigners. The fact that she didn't even think to ask that question tells me one of 2 things. Either one, she's not interested in me, despite the fact that it seems like maybe she's a little bit interested in what I'm saying. Or 2, she is interested, but she's just a boring person. And if she's a boring person, she doesn't know how to have a conversation. This tells me that if I continue to talk with this girl, I would be doing 90% of the talking and I would be bored. So ultimately, not worth it. I did not reply after this. Moving on. Alright, so this is actually, I talked to this girl on Tinder and I got her, in Korea we use something called Kakao Messenger. So I got her Kakao information. So anyways, I'm talking to her, I'm like, hey, what's up, are you home? She's like, yeah, I'm home. But check this out. This is what she says here. Look what she says here. She says, she joked, did you reach at my home already? So again, this girl's like, she's from Korea, so she's not, you can't blame her English too much. But guys, she's basically flirting here, right? She's basically subtly hinting at sex. She's telling me, hey, are you basically at my place? As soon as a girl jokes with you like this, right? Understand she is subtly breaching the topic of sex. You can't let that go. So anyways, I'm like, hey, well, if you want me to come over, that's fine, good. And she's like, check out what you said. When I'm like, or you can come over to my place. She's like, that sounds good, but I live with others. As soon as this girl said this, I knew I could have sex with this girl. 100%, right? Because just straight, it is what it is, right? So I'm like, you have to come to my place. She's like, ha ha ha, really? LOL, right? And then I'm like, yeah, you can come over right now if you want. And then she's like, I live in Hwasong City. And then I'm like, again, I was going to be like, we can meet up tonight. But then she lives too far. And she's like, hey, we can't meet up. Let's go the next weekend. So I'm like, all right, good. We planned for next weekend. And then the day we're supposed to meet up, I kind of knew this girl was going to flake on me because we actually didn't talk much. Her English is not that great. I tried calling her, but she's like, hey, listen, my English is really bad. I prefer to text. And she was a boring person. So I messaged her good morning that day, and then the day she's supposed to come over, and she, like, we sexted and everything. Like, she was coming over for dick. Okay, and she's like, good afternoon. Then she says, I want to cancel. We planned today. I don't feel good today. I got sick. I'm sorry, maybe next time. Again, at this point, guys, I'm not going to bother trying to like persuade her anymore. I'm not going to bother trying to ask her why. I'm not going to bother calling her out and saying, hey, you're probably lying to me. I know you're lying. I'm just like, hey, that's too bad. You know, I figured something would come up. All right, hope you feel better. She's like, thanks. Never message this girl again. I do not have time for time wasters. I don't even know who the hell this is. Oh, I know who this is. But basically, the point of this joke was that, hey, listen, at 5 years old, I never imagined myself messaging random girls. And then when she's like, why can't I envision the future later? I was like, well, the joke is that at 5 years old, I couldn't imagine myself messaging random girls. Right now, I can't imagine myself ever sending unsolicited dick pics to girls. So, like, the future is very mysterious. That was the joke. Anyways, the conversation doesn't go anywhere. And later on, I actually told her, I don't know where the heck it is. Crap, did I not do it yet? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so right here I'm like, well, it's because when I was 5, I didn't think anyone would be sending strangers messages, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, at this point, like, look, she's just replying with, like, simple answers, right? So I was like, Jesus Christ, girl, this is probably one of the most boring conversations I've ever had, straight up. She's like, oh, what should I say? At this point, I ignored her, right? Now, let's fast forward a little bit. And then, like, I actually ran into this girl at a language exchange place, and we ended up talking a little bit in person. We didn't talk much, and then we ended up talking again after on text when she left. And then, like, 2 weeks, I asked her to chill, and she said, hey, no, because she's like, oh, do you just want sex and stuff? And I'm like, no, let's chill and hang out, right? 2 weeks later, I don't hear anything from her. Out of the blue, she messages me saying hi. I'm like, hey, you know, I wasn't expecting a message from you. And I'm going to have to go ahead and bleep this out. And then she's like, do you have time tomorrow night? And I'm like, yeah, I do. You want to meet up? Spoiler alert. She gave me a blowjob. All right, this is girl number 3. Anyways, I asked her, I'm like, hey, you know, don't suppose you'd want to meet up? And then she's like, hey, listen, I got like a lot of people in my chat and most of them are interesting. And anyway, so when I'm like, don't suppose you'd want to meet up, she basically ignored that message, right? And I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna like let you ignore that message. So here she's telling me, so far you're very interesting, blah blah blah, right? And then I'm like, yo, did that question, like, originally I was like, hey, did this question scare you away? Because she didn't reply to it, right? She kind of disappeared for a little bit, and then she's like, nope. And I'm like, then answer it. Like, again, guys, don't dance around questions. Don't be afraid to just be direct with people. I'm like, then answer it. Anyways, we start talking, and then she's like, well, not so soon. And I start joking around. Like, again, for those of you that don't know, I love to talk on text. So, like, I have no problem sending lots of messages. I don't give a shit, right? She's like, well, not so soon, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, yo, send me a picture. Before I was like, send me a picture. She didn't reply to it, right? I'm like, so when do you want to meet up? So then I'm like, she tried to have a conversation with me. And I was like, no. We're not having a new conversation, right? First reply to this and this. So this is when I asked for a picture. And she's like, yours first, please. And over here, she's like, this is when I asked her, I'm like, so when do you think you would meet up with somebody that you've met over online? And she's like, dunno, 2 months later. At that point, I was like, yo, this is a wrap. I'm not trying to invest 2 months of time into somebody that I'm not going to get to meet in person. Like, she might be a catfish, but I'm assuming in 2 months' time, I'd ask her to Skype or whatever. But the fact is, I'm not going to invest that much time on anybody. If you're out there and you're trying to talk to a girl and you're talking to her for 2 months before you guys meet, understand you are investing so much time into this that she's basically going to trap you. She's basically what a lot of people, with the girls or guys, if they want you to invest that much time into them before they even meet you, guess what that means? It means that there's something very wrong with that person. There's something they're insecure about, something they don't like about themselves, something they're trying to hide. So they want you to invest a ton of time into them. So by the time you finally meet, you're thinking to yourself, I've been talking to this person for like 2-3 months now. Like, all right, fine. I mean, I might as well. Like, let's say, for example, she's overweight. Or let's say, for example, like he's overweight himself. And you're talking to this person, you meet, then you see how overweight they are. And you're thinking to yourself, I talked to this person for 2 or 3 months. Like, I might as well give it a chance now that we finally met. This right here, anytime a girl tells you, hey, let's meet after 2 months, like it's a girl you meet on a dating app or whatever, says, hey, let's meet after 2 months or whatever. If she does not want to meet you within the first week of communication, because again, people are busy, right? People can't meet you on the same day. Sometimes people are working, etc., etc. If they don't want to meet you in the first week of communication, you don't talk to them. You give up on them, because either they're a catfish, or what they're trying to do is there's something that they're trying to hide, and they want you to invest a ton of time into them so that you basically are coerced into looking past whatever it is that they're trying to hide from you, that you're inevitably going to see in person if you meet them in person. All right. Anyways, I hope this was a little informative for you guys. Again, sometimes, you know, you get pleasant surprises. Like this girl gave me a blowjob. She came back to my place after I chilled with her, gave me a blowjob. We made out for a bit. Then a blowjob occurred. Then a hand job occurred. And then some other stuff occurred. But yeah, you know, sometimes things, unexpected things happen. You know, pleasant surprises do occur. But lots of time, guys, don't waste your time on girls. When they start, you know, acting stupid like that, you need to move on. At bare minimum, walk away with your dignity.